We have a special guest with us talking to us about birthdays and how to change it from a train wreck holiday to a transformative experience that will keep improving year by year. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Fulfillment Therapy. Today we have a special guest, Tamar Hurwitz-Fleming, who is a birthday enthusiast. She helps people find joy and meaning through their birthdays. Her personal experience inspired her award-winning book, How to Have a Happy Birthday, which explores birthday significance and self-celebration strategies. And in January of 2025, she released a workbook along with that guides readers into transforming their birthday experience. Super excited to have you on the show today. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Kendra. I'm excited to talk to you about birthdays.
Yeah, I was very curious when I read your bio, looking through your different things, and I was like, I have not had somebody talk to me about this before or even explored it before, but I feel like I could learn a lot from this. So I'm excited to have you on and learn from you. It's going to be great. Will you give us a quick background, how you got into this space or anything about you?
Yeah, I'm an artist. I'm an astrologer. I'm an author. I've had a full career doing other things, but birthdays are something that we all have in common. And it's certainly something I've been paying attention to since I was 18. There's so much power when we celebrate our birthdays with intention and with planning. And there's so much self-love that we can tap into when we celebrate our birthdays fully that I realized, you know what? This is something I want to do. I want to write a book about how to have a happy birthday. And I started looking around. There are no books about this topic out there, and certainly not to the depth that I go to, because I really explore all the different ways that birthdays matter, ways that we sabotage our birthday joy, and then what we can do to plan for and have a happy birthday. So I'm really satisfied that this book is out there and that it's helping people. It's already been helping people have happier birthdays.
When I was thinking about this interview, I was like, oh, I could have really used this a long time ago. Like even in our early marriage, my husband has never cared about celebrations, very little anyway. And I love them. So it's been interesting navigating that and finding a way to make it joyful and meaningful, even if it isn't to other people. And just taking that initiative and, like you said, talking about self-love that we can tap into by doing that proactively. I'd love to hear some ways to do that, but I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. You've experienced a range of birthdays growing up. Can you share a story about a particularly challenging birthday and maybe how it shaped your perspective on the importance of that day?
Yes, probably the worst birthday I ever had was when I turned 18. It was my first year away from home. I'm the baby of the family. There's 4 of us kids, my parents, and my first year away from home was turning 18. I was in college. And this was back in the early 80s before we had cell phones and all that kind of thing. I was really excited to wake up and wait for the phone to ring so my family could wish me a happy birthday. And I'd run home from breakfast. I ran home from class. The calls never came. My family completely forgot about me. And it was devastating because it was the only thing I was looking forward to. I hadn't planned anything. I was just looking for the love. I was looking for the, we love you, happy birthday. Here's our energy that we're giving you today. And it didn't come. And it was really tough. And 2 years later, I was living in France. It was my junior year abroad. And I woke up, it was my birthday. I still hadn't planned anything, but I realized, oh, I'm alone here. Like I'm on the other side of the ocean. This is me time now. So it's up to me to have a good day. And I ended up having the best birthday of my life when I turned 20, because I realized, oh, this is up. I took the day off classes. I walked through town. I bought myself a birthday gift. I had friends over later for cake. And that's when I realized the difference between the 2 birthdays, just 2 years apart. One was being passive and waiting for other people to give me the energy that I needed and wanted, and I didn't get. And then the other birthday was all about me taking charge, me putting myself into the center of my day and creating the joy, creating the fun, celebrating myself, buying myself a gift. And that taught me something very powerful, that if you're going to have a happy birthday, so much of it depends on you being empowered to create what you want, to ask for what you want, and to show up for what you want.
Something that I talk about a lot on the podcast is that victim versus ownership, or that passive versus that assertive, and just recognizing that you do have power, just like you said, that empowerment, that how it feels so great and it can really create that shift. What do you say to clients or friends that they feel like stuck and they just get in that poor me space? What advice do you
Yeah,
give?
the second chapter of my book is all about the birthday blues and why we have the birthday blues and ways that we successfully sabotage our birthday joy, even subconsciously. And that feeling that you're talking about, like, I'm just not into it, I believe because we have unmet needs. And
Yeah.
typically it's related to our childhood experiences. We're very sensitive on our birthdays. It's like our spirits know it's ground zero for when our life began. It's a very meaningful milestone. We made it another
Mhm.
year. And I believe we are the most spiritually in alignment when it's our birthday. It's the day our life began. What's more spiritual than that? And so we're extra sensitive on our birthdays. And when there's anything off on our birthday, like I remember I was a kid and it was my birthday, and all of a sudden I'm getting all this attention, and yet I got yelled at a few hours earlier for doing something wrong. And it suddenly everyone's now giving me this positive energy, and it just felt inauthentic to me. It felt like, wait a minute, you just yelled at me 3 hours ago, and now you're like singing to me and giving me cake. I'm still upset about what happened 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
And we don't really have language or process, especially as children, to figure out those complex feelings that happen when a variety of emotions occur on our birthday. And so sometimes we might feel like, oh, now you're giving me all this attention that I don't really want, or it doesn't feel authentic, or it's not enough, or whatever those unmet needs are, and we internalize them. And then as we get older, no one hands a baton when we leave the house and say, okay, we celebrated your birthdays during your childhood. Now it's your turn. And here's how you do it. Go forth and celebrate. No one really says that to us. It's up to us to figure it out. And often we don't. And so we feel like, oh, that was just for kids, or here's my birthday and it's not a big deal. And I don't want to have expectations because I'm going to be hurt. If I open myself up to the hope and the expectations and nothing happens and my friends don't show up for me the way I really hope they will, I'm going to be disappointed. So we shut ourselves down to the potential for a joyful day because we're so afraid we're going to get hurt again. And so we tell ourselves our birthdays don't matter. We tell ourselves it's just another day. We ignore them. We have all sorts of effective strategies for keeping ourselves protected from the very tender place inside that really wants to be celebrated and really wants to be special. Just one day a year. It's just one day a year. And you know what? We all get one day a year. That's what I love about birthdays. It's an equal opportunity provider. Everybody gets one 24-hour period, one day a year, and that's it. I don't get to have 27 hours. You don't get to have 23 hours. We all get the same period of time. And it's up to us to take that one day, turn on that energy, turn on that joy, and absorb all that love that can really come our way. Because you know what? Everybody's happy for us when it's our birthday. I don't know if you've noticed, if you tell a stranger it's your birthday, like at the coffee shop, you're buying a coffee and you say it's your birthday, they light up. A happy birthday. They're happy for you because they know what it's like to have a birthday. So there's a lot of good energy to tap into. But again, we need to choose our empowerment and make our choices to tap into that positive energy that is there for us.
Beautifully said. And I love how you brought up to that expectation part. For example, I grew up with three sisters, and I don't know if you have sisters, but they're so good at being tuned into you and they know what you want, what you like, and they're just really good at noticing. So I had three sisters that were very attentive to me and my birthdays all growing up. And then now, as we're all older with our own families, they're not really there as much anymore. And I'm looking to my husband to fill that need. And he just falls short every time. And that's really not fair to him, let's be honest. But those expectations, like having that balance between that maybe too low, too high. Actually, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Is there a way to have that balance?
There is. I think the most important thing, like when your birthday is coming, acknowledging that you had these three wonderful sisters, like three fairy godmothers, celebrating your birthday. And that was how you were raised. That was your normal standard. And so now that their energy is focused elsewhere, how can you be your own birthday fairy? How can you generate your own excitement? What can you start to plan for? How can you plan your day? Can you take the day off of work? Can you start to get excited about whatever you're going to do on your birthday? Include your husband, include your children, include your friends, however you want. And then ask them specifically. Maybe your husband can't generate the celebration on his own because he's not into it, but he can certainly write you a birthday card with his loving feelings. That's the best present I get every year. It's from my husband. He gives me a gift, which is fine. I love them. But he writes me a love letter every year on my birthday. And it is the most precious gift I could possibly get. And so asking your husband specifically, or can you buy me a cake and pick whatever flavor? Or can Just do one thing, give him an assignment and let him choose how he wants to manifest it so he can put his own creative energy into it. But give him just one thing to do. Don't make him do the whole thing. It's too much for him. And you already know that. And so rather than setting up the dynamic where you're always disappointed because he's just not showing up in the way you want, go ahead, take the reins, take charge, create what you want, and then invite participation from the key people that you want to include on your birthday that year.
That's beautiful advice. And I've found over the years too, that assertiveness, not being passive. And I thought that I was being assertive, but I realized it was not specific enough. So I really like birthdays. I know you don't. I would like this and this, not like gifts necessarily even, but a nice dinner or something. This year, I know what she likes, but we're too busy. So I'll do it in a couple of days. My soul was crushed. I was like, but I talked to him. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
getting very specific on the birthday, or talk to me about it first and let's collect.
Yeah, that sounds heartbreaking to me, actually, because you were vocalizing, you were asking for what you needed. Birthdays are so personal and important to you that it would be painful to me if my husband didn't quite show up the way I'd asked him to. Have you talked to your husband about why he doesn't like? Does he like his birthday? It doesn't sound like he does.
It's not like this negative thing. It's just like a take it or leave it, like food. I love food. And he's
Sure.
like, take it or leave it. You know, just no feelings about it.
Sure. Okay. Just keep trying every year. Just say, okay, I really need this to happen on my birthday. Let's start planning a month in advance. Let's start talking about ideas. Give a long runway. One of the things is that if, in the same way that we won't wake up on Thanksgiving morning and say, okay, what's for dinner and who's coming over? You plan for Thanksgiving. You plan what you're going to make. You plan who comes over. It's the same thing for a birthday. Treat it like a major holiday. Start planning well in advance and be very clear about what you want and ask. And if it still doesn't happen, pick up the pieces and march forth on your own. Keep your joy flowing because it's your day. And nobody cares about your birthday more than you. And that's a good thing. That's how it should be. Nobody should care more about your birthday than you.
Another quick example. One of my closest friends, our birthdays are close. So she did a giant celebration, especially of women. Everybody got to climb, and then they went to a Thai restaurant, and just all these little things that she had planned throughout the day, whether or not her husband wanted to or whatever. I don't know. But I love that. And I have since then done that, but recognizing, yeah, you can take it into your own hands. So I think that's beautiful that you learned to do that. Especially, I think about your 18-year-old birthday. Like you just feel, I don't know about you, but I felt pretty vulnerable my first year away from home and just needing that connection so badly. So
totally
able to change that 2 years later.
Yeah. And I think it's because I was so far away from home that it was like, you're really on your own here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful that my family forgot to call me on my 18th birthday because I write about it right off the bat in the first chapter of my book, but it also gave me the catalyst to see the pain that we feel on our birthdays and then understand the healing and the joy we can also feel on our birthdays. And that's really what my book's about.
You talk about birthdays as a personal new year to help improve our mental health and overall well-being. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, I think that if people are feeling, anybody listening right now is feeling when their birthday starts to come, they start to feel the birthday anxiety and the birthday blues, and like they just want to go ahead and think deeper about why that might be. And you can't just ignore the reasons for that and move forward. You really need to understand the reasons for that. Often healing requires understanding of where the original wounds come from. And so if you can understand, is it your fear of aging, right? And then we can talk about that, and hopefully we will at some future point in this conversation. But is it the bad birthday memories you have from your childhood? Is it the disappointments? Is it that nobody called me when I turned 18? Whatever the issues are, pull them, dig them out, examine them, and understand where that comes from. Acknowledge them, and then put them aside and say, okay, let's go ahead and change the energy. Let's go ahead and try something new this year. And I want people to understand that if you are typically birthday avoidant, because I do believe there is a spectrum from birthday positive to birthday avoidant. If you're somebody who's birthday avoidant, don't expect that your next birthday is going to be this amazing experience. Take one step to make your next birthday better than it's been, and then build from that. And I promise you that will put you into a positive trajectory so that years from now, you might realize, oh my God, I get it. Birthdays are awesome and I'm so into them, and yay. Going back to your question though about identifying birthdays as a personal new year, they represent your personal new year. And so I think it's important to acknowledge that and ask yourself some big questions. Not what resolutions can I do this year? Go to the gym and whatever. But am I living the life I want to live? Am I fulfilling my potential? Is there anything significant I want to work on this year to make my life better? If so, what is it? And what actions can I take this year to move forward towards that direction? So it's not that, let's say you want to shift your career. You don't have to put the pressure on yourself to suddenly change jobs this coming year, but just even acknowledging, you know what, I'm not happy in this career and my potential, the fulfillment that I should be feeling isn't there. Let me start to think about that. Use your birthday as that launching pad for you to ask those meaningful questions because it's your life and it's under your control. And so use your birthday as a personal new year to investigate. Are you living the life you want to live? And if so, hooray, keep at it. And if not, what can you change in the coming year?
I really enjoy that. Mine is in January, so it seems to be the same.
Yeah, when's yours in January?
January 16th.
Oh, a week after mine. Mine's January 9th.
Oh, so they really do coincide a little bit. You're
They do.
in that mind frame. That makes total sense. I never really thought of it as this personal new year to ask yourself those really important questions. Like to me, it almost sounds like that personal audit and just thinking of your birthday as an opportunity to reflect. And it can be this celebration. And okay, like now I can focus for that next year on if I'm fulfilling my potential, how do I want to live? What are those things that I want to attract? Like all of that. That is so beautiful to think of it as something else instead of just, this is a day that maybe people are going to forget my birthday again and it's going to be a disappointment, even though I really want it to be fun, something like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Grab the horns and push forth.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. And then I love how you pointed out the difference between birthday positive versus birthday avoidant and how you can just focus on making it better. I don't know that I've specifically asked my husband, what is it that you don't like about it? Like he's the same way for Christmas. And I'm like, but these are magical holidays. I just want you to care a little bit about Christmas and my birthday. And then the rest we can just let go. It's had to be these regular conversations. And I know a lot of my clients feel the same way. Like it can be so discouraging and disappointing when something maybe was really magical at one point. Or I love how you also talked about explore why. Is there an unmet need? Again, I can't answer for other people here, but my dad died pretty tragically when I was a child. So maybe part of that is also like trying to get back some of the magic of my childhood. That's a hard thing to fulfill sometimes. Like my husband's, I just feel like no matter what, I'm going to fall short. So sometimes I don't even really want to try.
And that's understandable. Men really want to, our husbands really want to make us happy. They do. When they make us happy, they just light up. And I just see that in my relationship. I see that in other relationships. And if they can't make us happy, they're so frustrated. And so let's help them succeed. Just ask for the one thing your husband can do. Let him feel good that he succeeded at it, whatever that is. And you're going to have to figure that out, but I know you can. You've got almost a year to figure it out.
Something smaller and then doing what my friend did. Okay, we're going to go rock climbing or we're going to go play pickleball. Something fun.
Or you're in charge and just come along and be my playmate. What do you both love to do together? Yeah. Let's do it together on my birthday.
Yeah, that's true. Hot tubs, pickleball, and food, all of those things. Yeah, that sounds beautiful. So I want to go a little bit more into that birthday positivity you talked about. What are some simple, heartfelt ways that listeners can cultivate a more positive attitude on their birthdays, especially if they have had those negative experiences that we talked about?
This is a really important question. And again, people that have had a hard time with their birthdays, we're trying to make it better. We're not trying to make it the ultimate within 1 year. The first thing I recommend that everybody does is they take the day off work. That they really treat it like just in the same way that we get Christmas off and Thanksgiving off, let's take our birthday off. Plan well enough in advance. You know when your birthday is every year, so go ahead and take that day off. And even if you don't know what to do, take the day off so you can create the space to fill the day with that which you love to do. Do you want to go to the spa? Do you want to go play pickleball? Do you want to go hiking? Do you want to have lunch with a friend? Do you want to bake a cake? Make the day your own. Just start there. Take the day off work or whatever your responsibilities are. If you really can't, be honest with yourself. Don't let that be an excuse to avoid your birthday joy. But if you really can't, try and take the morning off or the afternoon off. Try and take some time and then go into the world or stay home and do whatever it is that you want to do that will just amplify your joy a little bit more. The other thing I recommend is to decorate your home. as if it's a major holiday, right? So get the happy birthday banner. This year, I actually strung up 4 happy birthday banners in different parts of my house so that if I was coming in or out of the kitchen, I would see it, or open my living room. I was really all into it. So hanging up a happy birthday banner is like turning on a light switch to start radiating that joy back at you. And also, this is a very powerful thing to do. Create a birthday altar. Find a space in your home and decorate it with your favorite photos, with flowers, with crystals, with favorite mementos, with candles, with whatever you want that makes it a festive place in your home. And by doing that, I like to do that on birthday eve, the night before my birthday. I like to create my birthday altar. And that's really wonderful. I've been tuning into birthday eve lately. And it's almost like Christmas Eve. You know how the energy starts to build on Christmas Eve and then you have Christmas Day? It's the same thing with your birthday. Let birthday eve be this lovely, peaceful time before your birthday that you can build your birthday altar and start to build and feel that energy build, because there is an energy. It's like a wave of energy that comes when our birthday approaches us. And for some of us, we want to duck that wave, or we feel like we're going to get smacked by that wave. And others, those of us that are birthday positive, see it coming and we get on our surfboard and we ride that wave of birthday energy through our birthday celebration.
First of all, Tamar, I thought I was the one that coined Kendra's Eve. And I like to tell my family, like, extend that birthday. Oh, it's Kendra's Eve. And they just roll their eyes at me. Who really celebrates Kendra's Eve? I do. And I'm happy to hear that you do as well. But those 3 things, great ideas. I had not thought of them before. I honestly don't think I have taken off. I've wanted to, but I don't think I have. Decorate your home. I have not done that for myself, just my kids. And then also create a birthday altar on that night before. I'd even think for my children, they would love that. Something to like commemorate different birthdays or something to make you feel like special. Just, it doesn't have to be overwhelming or anything like
Not
that.
at all. Not at all. And have them get involved in it. And it's fun decorating activity, and it's putting it together. And I want this and I want that. And then on the morning of my birthday, what I like to do is I like to spend a few minutes in front of my birthday altar and just get grounded, take some deep breaths and acknowledge my spirit, start my day spiritually. And that nourishes my spirit before I get swept away in the activities of the day.
Yeah.
That feels like a great way to work with the birthday altar on your birthday morning.
Yeah. Such wonderful ideas. I've never heard them before. So thank you for sharing those. So birthdays often bring up, as we talked about, a lot of emotions, especially as we get older. So how can embracing and celebrating our birthdays maybe contribute to our personal growth, or maybe even that self-acceptance that you were talking about?
As women, let's just talk about aging. And it's getting better, but aging is a 4-letter word in our current culture in the United States of America as women. And I really challenge that. I defy that. How dare anybody define my worth and my power based on how old I am or am not? There's just this meta message out there that younger is better, youthful is more attractive, and do everything you can to stay that way. And if that's how you want to be, fine, totally fine, but acknowledge that it's coming from something that's not actually true. It's not coming from something that's actually true. And so to me, a lot of women, I've been hearing that when they hit 40 or they hit 50, they don't want to celebrate their birthdays anymore. It's like, please don't remind me that I'm getting older, because they feel like they're becoming worth less than they were when they were younger. And again, I challenge that. I'm 59. I just turned 59. 60 is coming. And I will admit 60 feels really big. And I don't have any problem getting older, but 60 still feels really big. And I just spoke with somebody the other day who's 73, and he said it was hard for him to turn 60. I said, well, why? I don't have a problem getting older. He said, because when you turn 60, you're no longer middle-aged. And I thought that was a really profound insight, because he was right. You start to go into your senior citizen years, and that means that there's less time ahead of you to live the life that you're here to live. And so there's a certain poignancy in there actually, oh, I'm heading towards the end of my life the older I get, and let's just call it what it is. But I also use that as an energy to motivate me. Okay, Tamar, great, you're 59. There's less years ahead of you now than there were when you were 49. What more do you want to do? Do it. Don't hold yourself back. Don't sit on the sidelines. Don't whittle away your time on things that are meaningless. Jump into your life again and again to make it be what you want. And so to me, that's the power that aging gives us, is as we get a year older, we realize there's one less year to live, actually. And so I'm not saying that to be heavy. I'm saying that let that be a motivating force. Don't take your life for granted. Also, I will say the fact that I hope I make it to 60. I don't know that I'm going to make it to 60. The fact that we actually get to celebrate another year is a privilege. And it is something to celebrate because the alternative means we're not here anymore.
I think about that a lot too. I mentioned my dad passed away, and my listeners know, but my brother also passed away young, both of them. And that really lit this fire in me, which hence the whole fulfillment therapy part. It's just, okay, what are we going to do with this one life that we've been given? Are we really living to our full potential, like you talked about? Can this be a motivator for looking at our life honestly and really reevaluating things? And I love that you're doing that. And I think about, you're talking about turning 60. Not a couple of years ago, I turned 40. And I noticed how many people kept talking about my age when at 39, they never mentioned my age. My kids now constantly tease me because they think it's so funny that I'm over 40. And I'm like, I am the same, except for a number. We are so obsessed with aging
Yeah.
from 40 on, where I'm like,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. So I love that you are talking more about that and just trying to
Absolutely.
change that culture. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, life gets better. My experience with my own life is it gets better as I age. My 40s were so much better than my 30s, and my 50s were better than my 40s. So it's, yes, I am 42. And isn't that wonderful? Lucky me. And I love it. And I hope you make it to 42 and are as happy and fulfilled with your life as I am with mine.
Yeah.
Flip it as there's nothing to be ashamed of. And there's nothing to be teased about. It's
Yeah.
like, where's this coming from? I actually need to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story because this is when it really hit me the hardest. I had a 25-year career as an environmental educator, and I would give assemblies and class presentations. And so one day I was giving an assembly at a school to third, fourth, and fifth graders, hundreds of kids. And I had to wait because the symphony was giving a show and tell before me. So there were 4 symphony players. Question and answer time, and like, how long have you been playing your instruments? So there was a man and 3 women, and the man said, oh, I've been playing the violin since I was 10 and I'm 49. So I've been playing for 39 years. And then the other woman said, oh, I've been playing the violin since I was 15 and I'm not telling you how old I am. She was probably in her 50s. The other woman said, oh, I've played the violin since I was 13 and I'm 29. And she was probably in her 60s. And she said that joking, I'm 29. And then the last woman said, oh, I've been playing the flute since I was 10 and I'm 39. And she swallowed her words because she was young enough at 39 to not lie. 39 is still typically young, but she understood by that point that she needed to swallow her words and be ashamed of the fact that she was 39. Oh boy, I saw that. I said, what kind of message are we giving to these kids? The man gets to be 49, no problem. And these other women have to lie about it, not tell you about it, or be ashamed about it. Oh my goodness. No. So I got up there and I was talking about recycling and composting. And at some point I'm like, and students, I'm 37 years old. And one day when you're my age, people will be composting all across the nation. I just started implementing my age, and I did all the way up through 50. Every assembly I gave, I found a way to give my age publicly and shamelessly in front of those kids, just to role model something different. Because it is amazing how the culture gives women messages that we are not allowed to get older and we need to be ashamed of our age and we are less powerful as we age. I am so not in agreement with that.
Oh, so happy that you share that message, especially as my business is growing so much more and getting out there more. You start to see how glamorized young ages are. And then you start to feel like you almost have this expiration date. The more wrinkles I get, am I going to be as marketable? All these things start to come into your head more that you're like, oh, shoot. But I don't hear that same message from my colleagues that are men as much. And I'm just like, oh, I would really like to change that.
Yeah, I do too. And I love my wrinkles. I love my silver hair that's coming in. I'm not changing it. I reserve the right to change my mind at any point in my future. But as of now, this is the path I'm taking and I love it. And I like being a role model for younger women. Let your wrinkle. I don't know. When I get a pair of leather shoes, they look so much better when they're wrinkled and worn in. I love the wrinkles.
So beautiful. I'm grateful that you're speaking that beautiful message. So just a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
You talked about how birthdays have spiritual power. Can you talk about an example of how someone used their birthday as this catalyst for maybe some meaningful change or increased fulfillment in their life?
Yes. I recently came to know a woman who just turned 33. She never celebrated her birthday, but someone had given her a copy of my book and she was inspired and she decided when she turned 33, she was going to have friends over for a tea party. So she created that. She was excited. She planned it. And one of the things she wanted is she wanted her friends to go around in a circle and reflect back to her how they felt about her. And that experience was so moving to her because the reflections and the love that she got from everybody helped her get into alignment with what her soul was feeling. She's actually a successful commercial real estate. She started in her 20s, became very successful, but she's been feeling like she doesn't do that anymore. And after she had this birthday experience where she had all this powerful spiritual energy being reflected at her, she finally realized, I need to sell my business and I need to pivot and become a therapist, because that's where her soul and being of service was at. It was the birthday that was a catalyst. That experience of opening yourself up in that spiritual way and receiving the love from her friends in a deep way that they could reflect herself to her helped give her the courage and the clarity to say, okay, it's time to pivot. And so I'm happy to say she's now pivoting and becoming a therapist. And it's scary to sell a successful business and become a therapist, and you don't even know how that's going to work, but she's doing it anyway. And I love that story. And that absolutely came from her deciding finally to put herself in the center of her birthday and celebrate it with intention and meaning.
That's a great story. I love how stories share so much more sometimes than just advice can do. And I think that's a beautiful one. It reminds me of one simple experience, not necessarily as huge, changing your career. But I remember there was one year where I was in that same dilemma of like, how can I make this special? I really want it to be a special day. And I don't do social media very much, but this one time I got on my birthday and there was, I think, probably near 100 messages that were very heartfelt and very kind. And I just like that energy, just it expanded so much. And I felt so loved, so appreciated. And I was just beaming. And I was like, that is incredible. The power of words or somebody taking that little moment. And it just, I thought about it honestly for years, just like how impactful something so small that so many people are doing, the ripples that can create. Now, contrast that to my sister that same year that talked about how she just felt like such a burden and she didn't want anyone to know about her birthday because it just felt like she didn't want to feel needy. And so instead she just hid. And I just felt like it was so sad. And that was the year that I decided I was like, I'm going to remember how everybody's excited. Like you talked about, everybody's excited to smile and they're excited for you. And to not feel like a burden, to choose, again, that empowerment and being assertive. I'm going to choose to do something that will make this day beautiful and recognize that it is a gift and I can make it what it is. So I'm still practicing, but really love how you shared that story and then remembering that story myself too. Am I going to be passive or am I going to be assertive in how I approach my birthday?
That's right. And you just said a gift. And I want to emphasize that one thing you can do for your birthday is buy yourself your own birthday gift,
Yeah.
because why not? Right.
Yeah.
And so it also helps train us to fulfill our own desires.
Yeah.
Instead of being passive, oh, someone gave me a gift and I didn't really like it or want it. Well, I'm going to buy myself a gift. And it's not like we can't buy ourselves what we want the rest of the year, but when you intentionally pick something special for your birthday, and for people that say, oh, I can't afford that, you can save 25 cents a day for the entire year. And believe me, you'll have plenty of money at the end of that year to buy yourself a birthday present. So it's a lovely gesture that again raises the energy. And I
Yeah.
hope that your sister realizes that people do want to celebrate her and that she's not needy at all, but that if she takes charge of her birthday and lets herself feel her own joy, she'll magnetize a different kind of energy experience.
Yeah. And because honestly, we've all been both, right? But I know a lot of listeners, they might either resonate with feeling like a burden or we might just really love it. Or you mentioned that
Yeah.
birthday positivity or that
Birthday
birthday
avoidance.
avoidance.
Just have a happier birthday. My goal is to help people have a happier birthday from where they started.
Mhm.
Right. And so for all of you listeners who are like, I don't like my birthdays, try and have a happier birthday. Just put up a birthday banner, take the day off, go have fun. Just even if it's by yourself, even if you don't want to
Mhm.
tell anybody, just go celebrate yourself quietly, but let yourself and let that be a step forward. And I think everybody will be amazed at how powerful and delightful birthdays can be when we open ourselves up, when we plan for them as if they're a major holiday, and when we take charge of our day to make it what we want it to be.
Oh, absolutely. It's like that incremental growth that I talk a lot about. Like it's not about perfecting it, acing it that first year, but about just leaning in and trying a little bit more each year. Very well said.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
my last question I have for you is how have you created fulfillment in your life, especially since your birthday or as you intentionally did what you talked about and made the personal new year and did that reflection? Looking back, like how have you lived a life of greater fulfillment?
My birthday was January 9th, so just under
Mhm.
2 months ago. And I'm an artist. I love to decorate, I do design, I paint, I do all sorts of things, but I'm not always being creative in my life. And yet creativity is a source of joy and nourishment for my soul. So on my birthday this year, I was making a birthday collage, which is something I do every year. I make a birthday collage. It's not a vision board. It's not a goal thing. It's just beautiful images I cut out from magazines, and I'll pick a word that I like to represent what I want. So I was working on my birthday collage this year, and I thought, you know what? I like doing this so much. Why am I just doing it once a year? Let me bring this joy into more of my daily life throughout the year. So I started making more collages since my birthday in January. And that's something I'm committed to doing because it nourishes me and it's a relatively easy thing to do. And so just that alone has enhanced my life, just being more creative in a very simple but fun way.
Yeah, that's a great little thing that we can do. It doesn't have to be, again, this
Yeah.
life-changing huge thing, but these simple ways that we're leaning in.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Tamar, I'm really hoping that you'll do a follow-up book, same type of things for Christmas. Just putting that out there and to hear your thoughts. Because I feel like that is the other, I talk to all my friends and we're on board with that. Like, those are the two holidays we just don't seem to like nail.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of expectation around
Mhm.
things like Christmas and your birthday, for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone's got their different family traditions and how do they meld? And yeah, that's a whole nother thing. I will say, though, that the workbook that was published this year, the companion workbook to my book, can be used alone or in conjunction with the book, but it's a really good way. It's like a journal in a journal form that asks thoughtful questions that help people dive in and explore their issues around their feelings about getting older or why they might not like their birthday or what they can do. List your 3 favorite cake flavors, like to
Yeah.
start generating some ideas of what you can do on your birthday and how you can celebrate. For your listeners who are interested in learning more about how to have a happier birthday,
Mhm.
those, the book and the workbook are out there and easy to find on Amazon and everywhere
Yeah,
else.
I will put all of your links and everything in the show notes, but they can find them on Amazon, or where else can they look for them?
Noble, bookshop.org, wherever you can order it from your local bookshop. How to have a happy birthday. And my website is howtohaveahappybirthday.com. So
Oh,
you can
love
go
it.
there. Yeah. And you can learn more and figure all of that. So
Wonderful.
howtohaveahappybirthday.com.
I'll have to check it out. And again, I will put that in the show notes for listeners that would like to learn more. But thank you so much, Tamar, for coming on the show and helping us with something that, like you said, we all have birthdays. We are all trying to navigate this. And many of us maybe are hiding from it or just lost on how to improve it. So I appreciate a lot of your tips that I'd never thought before. And I feel like I can approach my birthday in a way that will probably be more successful. So thank you for those tips and
Thank
that
you,
insight.
Kendra. Delighted that we could have this conversation and that it can inspire you and others to have a happier birthday because it's
Yeah.
possible for all of us. And when we start to have truly happy birthdays from the inside out, we realize that these are transformational days. It's a transformational holiday that can
Yeah.
really just uplift and nourish our spirit and fuel us for the coming year. Thank you for welcoming me today. I'm delighted to have been a part of this podcast. And I certainly hope you have a happy birthday next January 16th.
Thank you. And you as well. You said January 9th?
Yeah.
Wonderful. And thanks again for coming on.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, friends. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you. No matter what your house or your hair looks like, I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.